Hi everybody, Kat here. It's Saturday morning, it's early, and I need to make this video. I just need to get it out there. And it's a video that I have put off making for quite some time. I've struggled with it emotionally for quite a long time, and I finally got all the data in, but it's addressing my blood work and how that's going to affect where I go. And anyway, I just want to get right into it because time goes so quickly. Back in November of 2015, I started a series of blood work that was going to go on to the present time. And I was having to take a physical for a different reason, unrelated. And so I had been, at that time, I had been a high carb, low fat vegan for about 4 years. And I had started off for about the first 6 months of that as a raw vegan. And I had lost too much weight at the time doing that. And I think, looking back at that, on a side note, I think I probably should have stayed raw vegan for maybe 2 months, because for me, it wasn't sustainable. And I got a big bald patch on my head. I was doing comb overs and spray paint or whatever. And then I totally jacked up my hormones. I went into early menopause and never saw Mr. Monthly again. And, I've been on bioidentical hormones since. Okay, but so I went in for physical. And I had been, okay, to recap, I had been a 4 years vegan, high carb, low fat. And I didn't cheat. I mean, everything was like, that was my life. That was it, you know. And so I went in, and the doctor did my blood work, and he said, that's when he had first found my cholesterol was at 318. And 318. And he said, I'm going to put you on statins. This is like really weird. And I wasn't overweight at the time or anything like that, and I hadn't really felt bad, but so I said, you know what, this can't be true, this can't be right, this is the way that I've been for the last 4 years. I explained to him I'm very healthy, I eat very healthy, and at this point I thought it was somebody else's chart he was showing me. It just bowled me over. And so at this point, I even took my phone out and showed him my Instagram and said, this is the way I eat. I don't cheat. This is it. I'm not having like McDonald's or something like this. So what in the world? And so my other numbers, my triglycerides were 194, which is pretty high. And but I was having a lot of fruit at the time. Maybe that accounted for it. I don't know. But it should have told me something else. LDL was 187 and HDL was 92. And so together, my total cholesterol number was 318. And he was really worried about it. And he said, I got to put you on statins. And that scared me to death, because, I said, no, that can't be my life now. I'm not going to be taking, pills that I see my dad taking now. It's just, and no, I don't deserve it. From the way that I live, I don't deserve to be on statins. And so I said, you know what? Let me try something for the next couple of months. Give me 2 months. I'm going to try something else and see if I can bring that number down. And if I can bring it down, will you, not let me go on statins? So he said, okay, I'll give you 2 months. And now I need to give people some background. A lot of you know that I have FH, familial hypercholesterolemia, which is a genetic form of high cholesterol. There's 2 types. One type you can get from both parents, and unfortunately, if you do have that kind, many of those people have a cardiac event, stroke, advanced hardening of the arteries by the time they're 12, 14 years old. Many people sadly do not make it, well into their 20s. And I have the kind that you get from one parent. If you get it from one parent, you have a 50% chance of getting it from one parent if you have a parent who has it. And I have a parent who has it, and I got it from my dad. So, but I have the kind that you can actually, many people actually go on to live until they're in their 40s or 50s, and then that's unfortunately when it strikes. And I am 50 now, so I am pretty concerned. It's very important to me to make sure I stay on point and on track with watching over this. My dad has had issues. I remember him having heart attacks in his 30s, and then strokes in his 40s and 50s, and then also he's had, to have his arteries cleaned out. He's had, in the last couple years, he's had an open heart surgery, and he has had a quadruple bypass. So it's been a lot of maintenance, and, a lot of people will say, oh, if he had a plant-based diet, that will, wouldn't have happened. Well, he's been largely plant-based for at least the last 10, 15 years that I know of. And, and I was 4 years vegan when they found high cholesterol again. So, everybody, you have to realize that not everybody's body functions the same. This is associated also with the liver malfunction, so it doesn't process things the same. And then when you take your gallbladder out, that's another issue on top of that. But, your liver has to work even harder. And so, anyway, it's just, you can't just say this one thing is going to fix everything. Here I thought, a plant-based diet was going to fix absolutely everything. And it doesn't for some people. They still have certain issues that they have to deal with. They have and so I don't want to get into it. But in any case, it's best not to be judgmental and, judge everybody by one standard that works for one person. So anyway, what I did to try to bring the number down anyway was I bought all these McDougall books, and I did the starch solution religiously, almost no fat whatsoever. And, so, I dedicated myself full time because I did not want to be on statins. So I did this for 2 months, and what happened was we took the blood work, and my total cholesterol number went from 318 to 333, so it climbed up. My triglycerides, probably because of more starches, went up more from 194 to 210. That was not a good thing. My LDL, my bad cholesterol, went from 187 to 210, so that was also climbing. And my good cholesterol went down from 92 to 81. So it wasn't looking good. It didn't impress the doctor. And he said, that's it, you're going on statins. And I didn't fight it because at this time I'm doing a lot of research on FH, and I'm realizing how very important it is and how serious it can be for me, especially being at the age that I am now. I have young children, I have a family, I want to be around for them. I don't want to start having cardiac events. And so I said, okay, fine, put me on statins. So I got off of the starch solution and went back to being a high carb, low fat vegan, regular vegan, and I stayed on the statins. So then I went back after, how long was that? It was about 4 months, and pulled back on the starches, stayed on the statins. My cholesterol then went down from 333 to 193. My triglycerides came down from 210 to 121, probably because of the lower starches. And I think I may have been having less fruit at that time. And my bad LDL cholesterol went from 210 to 91, and the HDL went from 81 to 78. So that was good. Unfortunately, it was because I was on the statins, which is like the first protocol for people who have FH, is to put them on statins because it does bring the number down. However, another thing that was happening during that time was it started during the last 2 months and went on for even 2 months after that. So I had a stint of 4 months total where I was completely sick, like all the time, sick, and just went from one, I thought, flu to another, and it was miserable. I lost my voice. My voice will never be the same because it was so inflamed for like 4 straight months that the raspiness that I've always had is just like worse. And my singing voice, I used to be able to sing. I had a lot of training, voice training. I just can't do it anymore. I can't reach the notes and stuff. So I was just really sick during that time. So that's just a little side note. But at this time as well, I'm like reading a lot of stuff about statins and the bad things that can happen to you because of it, and the risk factors, Alzheimer's, liver disease. And I already had liver malfunction. I didn't need any more. And so I said, you know what, that's just it. That's terrible. At this time, I'm also dealing with basketball belly and stuff because I had some allergies and sensitivities. And at that time, I didn't realize I was also having a sensitivity to soy because I was really counting on a lot of soy to fulfill my protein requirement. And from what I know now, I just have such a terrible intolerance to soy. I don't have it anymore. And so I said, you know what? I'm sick all the time. I don't want to be on these statins. Okay, so in December of 2016, and I had to stop right here because I said I started this journey back in November of 2015. The first blood work was actually back in June of 2015. So that's when all of that started. I was reading the wrong chart when I said that. But anyway, okay, so in December of 2016, I went back for blood work again after stopping my own statins, and I knew I had a lot of explaining to do at the doctor. I stopped my own statins for 2 months, and so what I was at that time, I mean, I was scared to death, and for those 2 months, I was no longer vegan. I was high fat, low carb, and I was off of YouTube. I'm pretty sure I was off around that time. A lot of time when I was experimenting with animal products, I was off of YouTube because I didn't feel right in coming on and making videos about, I don't know, I wasn't plant-based at the time and I didn't want to pretend like I was, so I'd been off for a long time. And a few people I had talked to about this, some of my friends, my vegan friends, and so they know what I was going through, but I wanted to stay off my channel. So anyway, I went back after 2 months of not being vegan and being high fat, low carb, because I'd been listening to a whole other slew of people who were FH or other non-vegan doctors who were saying they were dealing with this, using other protocols. I was trying these. So I didn't have any starches, not a lot of them during this time. And so went back again. Now, mind you, I'm off statins now. So without the statins, my blood work climbed from 193 to 246 in cholesterol. But because I didn't have the starches and I wasn't having any sugars and hardly any fruit at all, maybe almost none, my triglycerides came down from 121 to 111. My bad cholesterol, LDL, went from 91 to 127, which was really weird because it climbed up. Well, of course it's going to climb up because the total number is 246. And my good cholesterol, HDL, went up from 78 to 97. That was probably because I was having the animal products. Okay, so I started getting a little concerned during this time, but I was thinking, okay, it's probably because I don't have the statins. So I went on like this, playing with this kind of thing for a few more months, and I was high fat, low carb, low starch, low fruit, no statins. And without the statins and with the animal products, I thought I continued to see the rise in the cholesterol. And so it went from 246 to 342. And so the LDL went from 127 to 245. HDL went from 97 to 84. So that went down. The good cholesterol went down, the bad cholesterol went up, and my triglycerides, which were great because I had like no sweets, from 111 to 81. But the total cholesterol number scared my internal medicine doctor because I had another doctor looking at this. And she said, oh boy, you're going on statins. This is just not good. And at this time, I also have a cardiologist and, all this other stuff. And I've had to do scans to make sure my arteries were okay. And at this time, he says that, they look okay so far. There's really nothing to worry about. So I'm thinking, okay, that's great so far. But I'm seeing these numbers climb again, going, okay, this isn't a good thing. And so again, I asked my doctor, give me some time. I'm still working on this. I really don't want to go on statins. And I see that I am out of time now. So I really need to finish this to let you know what I'm doing, but I have to do it on another video. So I'm going to have a part 2. If there's anybody left to watch this, you want to come back and find out what the ending is to all this.